The nights are getting longer, the weather's turning colder, perfect time to stay in with some bigger Game Pass games. Not the endless 200-hour grinds, but epic adventures that still give you that sweet 1000 gamer score without the pain. Quick note, before we start, I'm only talking about the base 1000 gamer score for each of these games. No DLC, no title updates, just the core list. So kicking off our list is Immortals Fenyx Rising, Ubisoft's great mythology adventure. You get dropped onto a colourful island full of puzzles, vaults and mythological creatures, with a combat system that keeps opening up as you unlock more godly powers. The achievements mostly fall into place as you work through the gods' quest lines and clear a good number of the vaults. The only one you need to watch is Look No Hands. That's a missable tied to killing enemies with traps in the vaults, so make sure you grab it early. Expect between 30 to 35 hours for the full 1000 gamer score, and the whole thing has a lighter, more playful feel that makes it easy to stick with. Control is Remedy's supernatural action game set inside the ever-shifting Federal Bureau of Control. You play as Jesse, unraveling the mystery of the hiss while unlocking powers that let you fling desks, float through the air and generally turn the office into a war zone. Both the standard release and Ultimate Edition are both on Game Pass, and the achievement lists are basically the same for the base 1000 gamer score. Nothing is missable as long as you dip into the side missions, and you can play on any difficulty. Expect 20 to 25 hours for the completion, and the combat stays satisfying the whole way through. Spyro Reignited Trilogy is the full remake of the first 3 Spyro games, and each one comes with its own 1000 gamer score list. That means you're looking at 3000 gamer score in total. None of the lists are tough. Achievements are mostly tied to clearing levels, collecting gems, and a few simple tricks like flaming enemies. The whole trilogy should take between 20 to 25 hours, so it's a pretty relaxed way to boost your score while enjoying some colourful nostalgia. Dead Island 2 finally made it out after years of development limbo, and it's a first-person action RPG set in a zombie-filled LA. The tone is ridiculous, over-the-top gore, dark humour, and plenty of ways to turn zombies into munch. For achievements, it's pretty manageable. You'll unlock most of them by finishing the story, completing side quests, and trying out different weapons and combat styles. There's a bit of a clean-up for collectibles and specific kill challenges, but nothing is overly punishing. Expect 25 to 30 hours for the full list. It's a chunky game, but the pacing and humour keep it fun. As Dusk Falls is a narrative-driven drama set in small-town Arizona following 2 families caught up in a robbery gone wrong. It plays out like an interactive TV series with choices branching the story in different directions. For achievements, they are tied to exploring these branches, finishing all 6 episodes, replaying chapters to make different choices, and seeing alternative outcomes. There are no skill-based challenges here, just time and curiosity. A full run will take 12 to 15 hours, and it's one of the easier completions on this list, especially if you enjoy story-heavy games. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a first-person adventure that drops you into Indy's world just after Raiders of the Lost Ark. You're trekking through ruins, solving puzzles and punching Nazis with a mix of cinematic storytelling and old-school action. The achievement list is really friendly too, no difficulty requirements, nothing missable since you can fast travel back to every area, and most of the 1000 gamer score comes from finishing the story and completing fieldwork side missions. Then it's just a bit of a cleanup for collectibles and location-based tasks. Expect 25 to 35 hours for the full list, and it's one of those rare games where chasing the full score feels a part of the adventure rather than a chore. Dredge looks like a cozy fishing sim, but underneath it's got a real creepy Lovecraftian vibe once the fog sets in. By day you're hauling up fish and upgrading your boat, and by night the waters turn hostile with all sorts of strange things waiting for you. For achievements, it's a clean list. Finish the story, catch every species, and work through the side quests, like finding relics and decoding messages. Nothing is missable since you can revisit areas. For the full completion, it takes about 15 to 20 hours. A smaller game, but one that leaves a mark. Assassin's Creed has a bunch of games in Game Pass now, with Origins, Odyssey and Valhalla, and while they're all great in their own way, these achievement lists are serious time sinks. Origins alone pushes past 60 hours for that, and Valhalla is over 100 if you don't lose your mind first. That's why Mirage makes the list instead. It's a return to the series' stealth roots with tighter focus on assassinations, contracts, and exploration around Baghdad. The achievement list reflects that too. It's far more manageable, with most tied to story progression and the rest to side activities like contracts and tool upgrades. No difficulty requirements, no missables, just a straightforward 20 to 25 hours. So if you want the Assassin's Creed experience without committing half a year of evenings, Mirage is the one to go for. Spiritfarer is a management adventure where you build a boat and care for spirits while guiding them into the afterlife. It mixes light crafting, exploration, and character stories that you can get surprisingly emotional. For achievements, it's straightforward: complete the story, fulfill each spirit's quest, and work through upgrades and collectibles. Nothing is really missable, and it takes about 25 to 30 hours. It's a slower game, but a memorable one. Alice Madness Returns is a dark, twisted take on Wonderland, with platforming combat and a lot of eerie imagery. The achievement list actually looks pretty intimidating at first, but there's a handy trick. Playing on Nightmare difficulty and using level select afterwards means you don't actually have to suffer through the whole game in that difficulty. Most of this comes from finishing chapters, finding collectibles, and pulling off a few combat challenges. With the shortcut, it is much more manageable, usually between 15 to 20 hours. It's a cult classic that feels perfect for players who want something a bit different from the usual big budget stuff. A Plague Tale Requiem continues Amica and Hugo's journey, a mix of stealth exploration and surviving those endless waves of rats. The story is heavy but gripping, and the achievements fit neatly around it. Most unlock just by playing through chapters, while the rest come through upgrading your gear and finding collectibles. Though you'll save time being thorough on your first run. Expect 25 to 30 hours for this one, but it is a very rewarding completion. Fable Anniversary is the remastered version of the original Xbox classic with updated visuals and some quality of life tweaks. It's still the same light-hearted RPG full of choices. Be the noble hero or lean into being the mischievous villain. The achievement list covers the main story, side quests, morality choices, and a handful of odd tasks like marrying, divorcing, and getting rich. A guide helps, but nothing here is especially punishing. It usually takes 20 to 25 hours, and it's a great way to visit one of Xbox's most iconic RPGs. Dragon Age The Veilguard is BioWare's big return to fantasy RPGs, and good news is the achievement list isn't half as scary as the series' reputation. On storyteller difficulty with Prevent Death turned on, you can cruise through the campaign without worrying about fail states. Most of the 1000 Gamerscore comes from completing quests, maxing out faction strength, and finishing each companion's storyline. The only real thing to watch out for is the point of no return quest called When Plans Align. You'll want to do everything before starting it, or you risk missing a couple of endings and collecting achievements. With that in mind, the whole list can be done in one playthrough and usually takes a lot of time, between 60 to 70 hours. A long haul, but very manageable compared to the older Dragon Age titles. Atomfall is Rebellion's take on post-apocalyptic Britain, and the achievement this makes it more of a methodical hunt than a brutal grind. You'll need at least 2 playthroughs. One of the playthroughs will be relatively quick, another 2 hours or so, because there are 6 different endings and 7 achievements are technically missable. The trick here is making a manual save after rescuing one of the characters, when you can reload that point to chase different outcomes without restarting the whole thing. Along the way, there are plenty of collectibles to scoop up, the audio logs, comics, gnomes, notes, and some combat unlocks tied to robots and melee weapons. None of it is particularly punishing, but it can still be a bit awkward in how it asks you to juggle saves and story branches. Expect 30 to 40 hours for the full score, and most of the effort goes into ticking off the branching endings. High on Life is an all-ball shooter packed with talking guns, fourth-wall jokes, and a mountain of collectibles. Roughly half the achievements come from just playing through the story, but there are 9 missables to keep an eye on and a huge chunk of luglocks chests scattered everywhere. You'll end up with about 500 Gamerscore by just finishing the main campaign, and then it's a matter of hunting down the extras. Expect 8 hours if you're efficient, maybe up to 12 if you want to take a bit longer if you miss one of the miscellaneous achievements and have to replay sections. It's not a tough list, but it can be annoying if you don't plan ahead. Still, sticking it out for the full 1000 Gamerscore feels worth it. So that's our look at the bigger, more epic but manageable completions on Game Pass right now. If you're after quicker and easier ones, check out our other video where we cover those picks. Let me know in the comments what you're working on and if there's a big completion I should add next time. So thanks for watching.